Well, it has been a long time since we've all hung out on a Friday night. And I think it's also time for us to get back together with our Saturdays. Hello, Saturday Night is Live should be up and popping again here real soon. We are looking at today, First Samuel. Yeah, we are 25. And Nabal, yeah, he was tripping. But Abigail did have it taken care of. She had it all handled. We are going to look at that today. And what I want to let you know is sometimes it's really important to understand relationship. It's important for us to understand our positioning. And as women, I think it's really uber important for us to understand what we are and what we are not. Right? Because this story right here, when I tell you what, it's amazing. I used that term amazing and a chick on Headlines with a Voice. A few minutes ago, I read a comment where I had mentioned that these two, Netanyahu and Trump, are amazing. She said, "Oh, I'm unsubbing." I said, "In that case, you didn't even know me, baby." So let's get right into this story. It does come from us, First Samuel 25, and a lot of people will probably be like, "Well, gee whiz, why would you go for all the way back there? I mean, we're not under those times anymore. We're not this and that." But listen, you guys, there's a lot of great stuff that we can learn from the Word in and of itself. Period. And I do feel that way. So we are going to look at it. If you got your sword, your nine, your iron in the spirit, if you got all your good stuff, you can go ahead on and bring that out. But if you don't, I'm going to go ahead and read it. And then I'm also going to admonish the ladies and then the men as well. Because you know what? That spirit of Nabal is not just something that I would say women have. There are a lot of men, unfortunately, but there's a lot of passages that deal with the man and how he would have a woman who was pretty, out there. I'm out there, Larry. Just out there, right? So let's go on ahead and get into the actual story itself. We're right after the death of Samuel, and in tandem with being after the death of Samuel, we're quickly approaching a feast time. So let's go ahead for context and give you 1 Samuel 25:1, and then we're going to get into the good part, good old Mr. Nabal and his beautiful wife. Now, verse 1 says, "When Samuel died, all of Israel gathered to mourn for him, and they buried him in his home in Ramah. Then David set out and went down to the wilderness of Paran." Here's the good piece right here. David, Nabal, and Abigail. Verse 2 says, "Now there was a man in Moab whose business was in Carmel. He was very wealthy. He was a very wealthy man with 1,000 goats and 3,000 sheep, which he sheared in Carmel, which he was shearing out there in Carmel." So his name was Nabal and his wife's name was Abigail. She was an intelligent and beautiful woman, but her husband was completely an idiot. Okay. He was harsh and he was evil in his dealings. While David was in the wilderness, he had heard that Nabal was shearing his sheep. So David sent 10 young men and instructed them to go up to Nabal at Carmel, greet him in my name, and say to him, "Long life to you, and peace to you in your house, and to all that belongs to you." Verse 7 says, "Now I hear that it is time for shearing. When your shepherds were with us, we didn't harass them, and there was nothing of theirs that was missing the whole time that they were in Carmel. And you can ask your young men, and they will tell you. So let my young men find favor with you, for we have come on the day of the feast. So please give whatever you can afford to your servants and to your son David." When David's young men arrived, they relayed all these words. They said everything that David said to tell homeboy. And then they waited. Because in sales, the next person who speaks loses. And he did. Because Nabal went in and he said, well, verse 10 says, but Nabal asked, "Well, who is David? And who is this son of Jesse?" Now he knew who he was. He was just, who is he? He ain't nobody around these parts. He was walking around. I love to juxtapose people to George Jefferson. He was all strutting around. Well, who is he? And who is this son of Jesse? Many servants these days are breaking away from their masters. Why should I take my bread and water and my meat I have slaughtered for my shearers and give them to these men whose origin I don't know? I don't know you. So David's men turned around and went back, and they was like, wow, that was heavy, man. This cat is, whew. Who gonna tell David? I don't know, but we better all tell him, because this right here is not cool. So they all went back and they relayed all his words. They told him everything that he said. And verse 13, oh man, I wish I had that song. If you only play 7 seconds of it, I understand that you could just play it, right? What is that song from what's his face? Mount Up. It said that David said, oh, for real? And David said to his men, strap on your swords. So David and all of his men put on their swords and they went out. They went about 400 men and they followed David while the 200 stayed with the supplies. So y'all gonna stay back, y'all fall back. We're gonna go handle this. Now, meanwhile, one of Nabal's young men informed Nabal's wife, Abigail, and said, quote, listen to this, quote, look, David sent messengers from the wilderness to greet our master, but he scolded them. Yet these men were very good to us. Now, when we were in the field and they didn't harass us, they didn't bother us, and nothing of ours was missing at all, Miss Abigail. The whole time we lived with them, they didn't bother us. They were a wall around us. They protected us basically, both day and night. The whole time we were herding our sheep near them. Now consider carefully, Miss Abigail, what you gonna do, because disaster looms over our master and all of his household. For he is such a scoundrel that nobody can speak to him. No matter where he goes, this dude is always having some trouble. So what Abigail do? She did like most of us. She says, let me go ahead on and pick up for this dude. Let me go ahead and pick up all of these problems. You know what I'm saying? Let me go ahead and clarify all of this, because this dude is really, really getting us in some mess here. So Abigail intercedes. She then hurried and took 200 loaves of bread. She didn't take 100. She didn't take 10 loaves. Homegirl took 200 loaves of bread, 2 skins of wine, because you got, if you're gonna eat, you got to drink. Then 5 butchered sheep, 5 seahs of roasted grain, and 100 clusters of raisins. And then she took 200 fig cakes. Don't you know I love fig cakes? Oh my goodness. I love them. I love figs. Well, she loaded them all on these donkeys. And she said to her young men, y'all going ahead of me. I'm going to be right behind you. But she did not tell her husband Nabal. In verse 20, it says, as Abigail came riding her donkey into the mountain ravine, she saw David and his men coming down toward her, and she met them. Verse 21 says, now David had just finished saying in vain, I have protected all that belongs to this man in the wilderness. Nothing that belonged to him had gone missing, and yet this is how he gonna pay me back? Evil for good? Oh man, come on now. God punished David. May God punish David, and ever so severely, if I let one of Nabal's men survive until the morning. God, I want you to get at me. Get at your boy. And ever so severely, if I let one of his homeboys survive until tomorrow morning. Now, when Abigail saw David, like the smart, intelligent woman she was, she quickly got up off that donkey and immediately fell face down and bowed before him. She fell at his feet and she said, my Lord, there's a quote, my Lord, may the blame be on me alone, but please let your servant speak to you. Hear my words, hear the words of your servant. My Lord should pay no attention to this scoundrel Nabal, for he lives up to his name. I mean, his name means fool. It literally means this dude's a fool. So I know that folly accompanies him, and I, your servant, did not see my Lord's young men whom you sent. Had I sent them, basically what she's saying is I would have took care of them. I did not see them. Verse 26 says, now, my Lord, as surely as the Lord lives, and you yourself live, the Lord has held you back from coming to bloodshed and avenging yourself with your own hand. May your enemies and those who seek harm for my Lord be like Nabal. 27. Now that this gift your servant has brought to you, my Lord, be given to the young men who follow you, please forgive my servant's offense. For the Lord will surely make a lasting dynasty for my Lord, because he fights the Lord's battles. May no evil be found in you as long as you live. And should someone pursue you and seek your life, then the life of my Lord will be bound securely by the Lord your God in the bundle of the living. But he shall fling away the lives of your enemies like stones from a sling. Boy, look how she put that. You talk about poetic. What? This girl is poetic. She even went back and talk about, look here. You talk about a marketer. This chick was a master marketer. She said, let it be like, some of them rocks that you had that one time and stuff. I know who you are. He tried to pretend like he didn't know who you were and he didn't know what you was capable of. But I just want to let you know that the Lord your God and the bundle of the living. Then she says this piece, but he shall fling away the lives of your enemies like stones from a sling. He like, oh yeah, you seen that, huh? Yeah, you seen when I did that, huh? Now when the Lord has done for my Lord all the good he promised, and when he has appointed you as the ruler over Yasharal, then my Lord will have no remorse or guilt of conscience over needless bloodshed and revenge. Oh, you bigger than that. You destined for bigger than that. I mean, we're talking beyond Star Search here. You're going to be amazing. And when the Lord has dealt well with my Lord, may you remember your maidservant. And verse 32, then David said to Abigail, quote, blessed be the Lord, the God of Yasharal, who sent you to meet me this day. Don't forget, y'all, she fine. Don't forget, she's a looker. And he probably holding her hand. I can only imagine holding her hand and letting her twirl around. Blessed be the Lord, the God of Yasharal, who sent you to meet me this day. Blessed is your discernment, and blessed are you, because today you kept me from bloodshed and from avenging myself by my own hand. Otherwise, as surely as the Lord, the God of Yasharal lives, who has restrained me from harming you, if you had not come quickly to meet me, then surely no male belonging to Nabal would have been left alive by morning light. Then David accepted from her hand what she had brought to him, and he said to her, you know what? There's some good eating you got here, right here. No, I'm just joking. He said, it's pretty good right here. That girl can cook too. Oh, man, wait a minute now. I want you to go ahead on and go home in peace. See, I have heeded your voice and have granted your request. When Abigail returned to Nabal, there he was at the house, holding a feast fit for a king. Listening to all the 80s music, he was in there, cutie pie. You're the reason why. He was feeling himself. He done told them dudes to go ahead on and get on. Who is David? Back on up. It says that when she got back, he was in there holding a party fit for a king, in high spirits, but he was towed back, very drunk. So she told him nothing. She just went on ahead, took her shower, got her hair wrapped. You know what I mean? Put her little hair wrap on, cleansed her skin, and got herself all together, got in her nightgown. And she went ahead and got into bed. She wasn't even tripping until the morning came. And in the morning, when Nabal was a little bit sober, She turned around and she told him about these events, and his heart failed him, literally right there where he lay. As he sat there and looked up at her on his elbow, talking to her in the bed while she was letting him know what was going on, he looked in her eyes and his heart failed within him, and he became just like a stone. So we already know he had a heart attack. And what happened was 10 days after that, the Lord struck Nabal dead. Now, let's talk about all of that. This chick can cook and you ain't got to worry about nothing, baby. You go ahead on back home, Miss Abigail. Don't worry about nothing. We got you. Everything is on the up and up, and I respect your husband because, you know, I don't want no more of that trouble that I had once before in my lifetime that I'm going to have pretty much, that I'm going to have, because he didn't have it then, but he did like the ladies. So now verse 39 of 1 Samuel 25 says, on hearing that Nabal was dead, David said, blessed be the Lord, who has upheld my cause against the reproach of Nabal and has restrained his servant from evil. Because I'm telling you I was going to take him out anyway. For the Lord has brought the wickedness of Nabal down upon his own head, meaning I didn't have to touch this dude. But I'm telling you guys, I wanted to get at him. I didn't have to do nothing to him. So in the end of it all, David then sent word to Abigail, asking her for her hand in marriage. Look here. When his servants came to Abigail at Carmel, they said, David has sent us to take you as his wife. She rose up, then bowed face down and said, here is your maidservant, ready to serve and to wash your feet of my Lord's servants. So Abigail hurried up. She did all she needed to do. She probably went back and looked at them old pots and said, I don't want them to keep all of this stuff here. She just got on a donkey and she attended by 5 of her maidens. She took 5 of the wise with her. She followed David's messengers and became his wife. David had also married Anoam. I think that's how you say it, Anoam of Jezreel. So she and Abigail were both his wives. But Saul had given his daughter, Michal, David's wife, to Plati, the son of Laish, who was from Galim. That is really all I have to say about that. But what I do want to let you know is this. It is so very important for us to understand who we are. Ladies, I want you to understand who you are and what your position is. It's not, Abigail's position was not to pluck that dude's head off and just talk bad and keep going at him, because she already said the dude's name is a fool. So when he act like a fool, I just don't pay no attention to him. I'm here. I'm assigned to him as his wife. I love him. I care for him. I care for the household. But what did Abigail do, you guys? She did her gig. That's difficult for a lot of us. A lot of us women have a hard time just doing our job. We are always worried about everything else that goes on around us. But our problem is, and I'll speak for myself, is oftentimes I have to control everything. I got to control the narrative because I don't like the unknown. I have a strong concern with understanding what's going on and how come I don't see what's moving, right? So what she did was very wise. She heard the information and she was proactive in fixing the problem. Oftentimes, I have been working in positions where I have had bosses, here in the South especially, where they just said anything. They did anything. One wanted me to tell some people who owed us, the company, some money. He was going to take his Peterbilt and drive it right into the building if they didn't cut him his check for the money that they owed him. And he may be listening right now. But I'm going to tell you, and he will tell you, I did not tell those people none of that. I just listened to him vent. I listened to him go on. I listened to him talk about how he wanted his money and they was not going to play with his company like that. He did the work and he wanted the work. I said to myself, this dude think I'm actually going to call somebody and give them a terroristic threat? Child, please. I was so kind to those people. I was so polite to those people. Why? Because I understood, just as Abigail did, that you can get a whole lot more if you're treated with the sweetness of honey than you can with vinegar. You can get a whole lot more. As a matter of fact, It was to her family, household, and all of her servants and all of the males in the community. It was to all of their benefit that she kept her head straight. Don't you understand that if it's not for us keeping our head cool, that our whole household will crumble? Have you noticed that? It will, because we really do set the tone within the house, especially when we have a spouse that's out of the house. See, he wasn't at home at that time. He was out there in the fields cutting the rug. He was doing what he was supposed to be doing, right? With the sheep and whatnot. But he was away from home. It was her responsibility to keep the home together and do what she needed to do. So there was no reason for her to get on a donkey and ride out there and talk to him and confront him about it and put her finger on his face and talk about, you know what, you could get all of us killed because you're stupid. You know your name is stupid. Your daddy and them named you stupid because they were stupid too. So I don't know what the problem with you, but you're going to get all of us killed, running your mouth, talking about who is David. She didn't do none of that. She didn't have any time to do that. Time was of the essence. And Abigail exercised unbelievable restraint and wisdom at the same time. Right? Right. Plus, she was fine. So that was also to her benefit. And when she go, can you imagine any man looking at a lady who is as humble as she was and not having compassion and understanding for her, especially since she didn't come in there saying, you know what? My husband told y'all wasn't going to get none, but here, you can have these little old fig cakes. I'm going to give you these. No. She was completely humble. Completely humble. And that is what saved her household. That is what saved Abigail's family. That is what saved her life. That is what saved everybody's life. But this dude did not know who the person David was submitted to. He didn't even begin to know, because if he had, he would have done what he was supposed to do. And that is let that man and them people go ahead on and have feast with you. Go ahead and you guys give him some wine. Go ahead, you all come on in. Yeah, y'all did. Now think about this. This dude literally protected everything. David and his men protected the flock. David and his men protected everything. There in Carmel, they protected this man and didn't ask for nothing in return. They didn't come in and take nothing. They didn't take any of their sheep. They didn't take any of their women. They didn't take anything. All they did was stay posted up like watchmen on the wall and protected everything. And this man could not even give them one fig cake. Oh, wow. Wow. So what's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is, men, don't you be no fool like Nabal. And ladies, look at the lesson that you can get from Abigail. Look at the lesson that we can get from Abigail. Not just the fact that her household was saved, but even after her husband died, I can only imagine how she felt. Who is going to be the kinsman redeemer? Who's going to come in and try to take his position? I hope it ain't his fat uncle. Oh my goodness, I can't hang with that dude. I don't like him anyway. But this is what happens. David, who she knew was about to be king, and she even referenced that while she was talking to him, pleading the case of her family. This is the man that was going to actually fill that space in her life. Why not? I'm sorry, you guys, this was exceptional. I really love that. It came from 1 Samuel 25. And I want to thank Ronnie Mann. I don't know, he's not here right now, but I want to thank Ronnie Mann. I want to thank everybody. Hey, Daryl, how are you? And James, how are you? I want to thank all of you guys. But I just want to let you know that it is so important for us as women to know our position. And it is also important to know, gentlemen, when you have a good woman who is humble and who does have your back. And when she has your back, if she comes and she says X, Y, or Z, don't shout her down. Listen really closely. And then after you listen really closely, you go and you handle the business and you begin to thank her, right? Because you are working together. All right. This is past 30 minutes, been off the chain. Love you very much. Hey, it's good to see you too, James. So good to see you. So you guys head on over there to Headlines with a Voice. And I want you guys to let me know what you guys think on that video down below in the comments, because I want to show you the video. And I can show the video. I can show it because it belongs to us, right? So let me see if I can find it and let you guys see it, because I want to tell y'all what I think. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you, don't go nowhere, you guys. It's just about 5 or 6 of us in here. So I want you guys to hold up. because I want you to tell me what you think about it. We're going to chat about it right quick, real quick, because it's not that long. But I do want to know what you guys think. And here is why. Because to me, this is nothing but a mess. It's a mess, a pure mess. All right, let's see. Here it is. And I'm going to hold it. I just posted it a few minutes. Okay, so let me go over here. Let me get you guys. I'm so glad we're going to talk about this because this way I get you guys input on it. Let me close this window and go over here and close that window. And I'll close this window and I'm like the window sister. Okay, here we go. There we go. All right, you guys, I want you to tell me what you think about this. Okay, there. Welcome to the Lockhart Radio Podcast. I am your host, Felicia Lockhart. Today we are looking at Trump and Netanyahu. These two together are amazing. You see, there was a four-way telephone conversation between the United States President, Donald Trump, as well as Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Prime Minister Netanyahu, and the Minister of Strategic Affairs, Ron Dermer. Now, according to a source directly dealing with the matter itself, after this assault from the United States on the Iran's nuclear installations, this conversation took place. And according to that source familiar with the discussions, they say that all of the participants expressed extreme enthusiasm regarding the B 2 bombers' mission results and were experiencing what the source characterized as euphoria. Yet the tremendous satisfaction among the four leaders derived not merely from the operational achievements, but also from the future strategic planning. President Trump and Netanyahu aimed to swiftly pursue fresh peace arrangements with Arab states as a part of the Abraham Accords expansion. Now, the here are the five bullet points that they have come up with. They reached this consensus on these fundamental principles in general terms, and they plan rapid implementation of these, beginning with the Gaza warfare termination. So the first one was the Gaza hostilities are going to conclude within 2 weeks. Ending conditions will encompass four Arab nations, including Egypt, and the United Arab Emirates. Now, they are going to administer the Gaza Strip, replacing Hamas. The remaining Hamas leadership will face exile to other countries while the hostages gain freedom. The second point is multiple nations globally will accept numerous Gaza inhabitants seeking immigration. Number three is the Abraham Accords expansion. Expansion is going to bring Syria as well as Saudi Arabia and additional Arab and Muslim countries to recognize Israel and establish official leadership. Now, here's what I want to stop in here and ask you guys because this is where we are right now, right? Here is what I want to ask you guys. Do you see what is really going on? It's almost like the big whining crybaby that's got their bullies and all of their buddies to go and fight for them is now saying, now, I want to take the whole entire complex over. I want to take everything. No, make him give me that's his house, but I want his house too. Those are his marbles, but I want his marbles too. I know his mom and them gave him that pasture, but I want that too. Every single thing that belongs to them, I want it. I want it all. Every inch of it. Because I want to claim it as mine. How greedy is that? Nonetheless, it's just a question. Let's go ahead and finish listening to this because to me, this sounds like plum foolery. Plum foolery. But they're going to take everything. Get the last portion. Listen to this. Number four, Israel will declare its willingness for future Palestinian conflict resolution under the two states concept, contingent upon the Palestinian Authority reforms. Number five, the United States will acknowledge limited Israeli sovereignty implementation in Judea and Samaria. Concurrently, two diplomatic sources, Judea and Samaria. all of that. And then you guys want everybody to sort of, I don't know, bow down and acknowledge you. This right here is, look, you guys, I don't know. Let me know down below in the comments if you guys think that this could be the brink of, I don't know, World War III. I don't know. Just asking for a friend. Have stated that substantial American presidential pressure on Prime Minister Netanyahu to conclude the strip operations. Such pressure commenced prior to the Operation Rising Lion and recommenced immediately following its conclusion. Nevertheless, the additional source indicated that they were not aware of any pressure. Now, it was further discovered that fears regarding the ambitious plan's potential failure contributed to why Trump had this significant anger concerning Israeli strikes after his Iran ceasefire announcement. During the conversation, he demanded that Prime Minister Netanyahu halt the aircraft. Trump expressed confusion about how Netanyahu would disrupt their agreed strategic peace framework over a minor Iranian missile. Now, the two leaders' commitment to implementing this ambitious strategy apparently motivated President Trump's extraordinary social media post about the prime minister's legal proceedings. Trump, having previously discussed Netanyahu's trial with him, seeks to liberate him for a complete peace vision engagement. Consequently, Netanyahu's scheduled court testimony next week has been delayed. I want you guys to let me know down below in the comments, what do you think about this? It sounds like they are just going to take over one big, gigantic part of that region. The whole entire kit and caboodle is what they want. They want it all. They want everything. They want everyone to bow down and acknowledge who they believe they are. This is going to cause a mess because eventually somebody is going to get tired. Now, there you guys will have this story because I think it ties in to what's going to be going on next. If you guys tune in tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, we are going to talk about one thing, and that is, thank you, baby. I appreciate you, James. The one thing that we're going to talk about on our live tomorrow is going to be about an hour broadcast. We're going to talk about what's going on in that entire area, to include what Trump is about to do with the nations in Africa. All right. It looks like one thing just hinges on the other. But as it relates to the ladies that we're talking about this evening, I hope that you in the replay get something from the behavior that Abigail exemplified. And then I want you to also notice that, yes, while you were young, ma'am, you may have married a man who maybe didn't have the name like Nabal, which means foolish, but you may have married him when you guys were younger and he sort of stayed that way. You're married to him, just continue to stand and just continue to, as long as he ain't going upside your head, just continue to pray for him and continue to go on ahead and, do the workaround. You got to work around him sometimes. Bless his heart. Whole thing. Anyway, I appreciate each and every one of you guys for hanging out. Please remember to share, like, and if you're not a subscriber here, please consider subscribing. You guys take care, be blessed, and remember what I always say, please take care of yourself first before you do anything else. Before you reach around and help somebody, make sure that you are taking care of you, because trust and believe, ain't nobody else going to do it if you don't. I'm telling you right now, they won't. I know firsthand that they won't, because everybody needs somebody. And if you're the strong person, well, you're just going to have to be there to hold it all together. That's just the way that it is. And a lot of times it is on you, sir. It is on you, ma'am, because not everybody has the strength that you do. So make sure, no matter what, you take care of yourself. Okay? All right. Peace. Hey everyone, it's me, Felicia, of the Lockhart Perspective and Headlines with a Voice. I want to tell you a little secret. This is what I used to do, because I don't do it anymore. I would go to the store, buy the barbecue sauce, pour it inside of a bowl, put a whole bunch of different spices, a dash of brown sugar, a dash of maple, and a dash of mustard, stir it all around, and everybody would be like, oh my gosh, this is the best, this is the best. But I was exhausted after all of that, and a lot of times I couldn't remember how many dashes of what I put in it. But I don't have to do that anymore, because now I just go to Judge Joe Brown's website and I order his 3-pack of bottled barbecue sauce. It is by far the best, and I do mean the best barbecue sauce I've ever eaten. And when you go to his website and you order his 3-pack, you'll see exactly what I mean. Head on over to jjbbbbq.com and order Judge Joe Brown's barbecue sauce. You'll be glad you did, and you're going to tell me about it. I know you will. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping you